Hi, and welcome back to another Warlock's Tower battle report. This time 40k, and it's a fairly nasty Space Wolf list versus my Orks. So mainly Knob Bikers again, and Knobs and Boys in a battle wagon. So yeah, gone for my mainly Grot Core again. So yeah, keep that nice and cheap, I find, it's done on objectives. So basically, this is a very, very good close combat list. Wolfen in the murder pack, boosting them up so that they can charge pretty far. So on a 6, they can move 24 inches and then still charge. So yeah, potentially really nasty. Couple of last cannons, two sets of two last cannons in the building. Um, thunderwolves on the far left. Wolfen, an elite Iron Priest with 3 dogs, another elite Iron Priest with 3 dogs, more Wolfen, and another unit of Thunderwolves. So we're playing Maelstrom and Eternal War. So the Maelstrom objectives are the ones with the red dice, and the Eternal War ones are the flat objectives with the skulls on. So it's whoever holds most of those at the end of the battle gets 3 points per objective. My objective is pretty limited, so I've got a lobber represented by the squid gobber, a unit of runt herds, of grots, and another lobber with the unpainted rocket. So um, apparently the FAQ says that the wall has to be put down all as one. To be honest, I'd put it all down around the far right one, and therefore it wouldn't have made any difference. Instead, my grot slightly further around behind the building. They still could have moved up. They were within 9 of the Maelstrom objective, so they could have got that quite easily. Now, basically, the rationale behind this deployment is I need to shoot off the Wolfen. The Wolfen allows so much mobility to this army that it's just ridiculous. Even if you don't pop the 6 for the crazy movement, they give extra 3 movement to movement, run, and charge. So, or very likely to do that. So, either way, I need to kill the Wolfen. So my thought was, if I put down my army, potentially he can charge me turn 1. I don't want that to happen. If not, he can almost certainly charge me turn 2. I need to be charging him with my Knob Bikers so they're strength 10, and I can insta-kill his wolves. Otherwise, the combat swings very quickly in his favour. So, after playing Gene Stealer, Cults, and Space Wolves, I realised that suddenly a shooty element to an army is going to be good in the current meta. So, hence the boys in the battle wagons. So that was really my plan, to bring on these guys as reserves. I had 2 war bosses, one with a thinking cap, one with a lucky stick. Obviously, thinking cap is my general, so he got I can reroll reserve war rolls, and I get 3 units who can come on as infiltrators. So yeah, that was pretty handy. So I was pleased about that. Played a good roll. So he moves forward pretty far, and I was pleased about this. He was discussing how he was going to potentially wipe me out turn 1. The far lobber was put right back there with the assumption he was going to move towards me, and basically he couldn't charge it, he couldn't shoot it, so it was always going to be safe. So I knew I was going to make it to turn 2, and with the rerolls to bring on troops, I was pretty sure I was going to bring on a decent amount of troops. In hindsight, I should have dropped a little bit and had my bomber. I'm a big fan of this for clearing out units, but well, joys of hindsight. Hey, so I was pleased how he was moving forward. It meant my shooting be in range, and I was pleased that the Wolfen were at the back, basically because I was hoping to come on with infiltrators and shoot some of them off. So yeah, pretty uneventful first turn. He deep strikes in with one of his lone wolves with a thunderhammer and shield, and narrowly misses the impossible train, and the other one comes in just in front of the lobber. So yeah, Turn 2, he charges in with his thunderwolves and makes very short work of the one lobber. But this is kind of what I want. This is really spread him out, and yeah, gives me a chance to get around the back and start taking out those last cannons and his wolfen. As soon as his wolfen are gone, yeah, they're cavalry and they can move okay, but they're nowhere near as mobile as my bikes, and I shoot and they don't. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased at this point. This is what I thought would happen. Obviously, with Maelstrom objectives, it forces you to move around anyway. So yeah, it was good. So my knob bikers come on the back, got heaps of power claws in these. Basically, I hadn't brought enough models with me until I just chucked all the power claws into this unit, so they are pretty choppy. And I started shooting into the wolfen. Unfortunately, I couldn't give him a very easy. I couldn't get to shoot his wolfen much more without giving a really easy charge. So it's mainly they're two separate units, but the lower unit, the closest to us unit, is the one with lots of shots going into that wolfen, and then the battle wagon is represented by the squigoth. So again, there's a unit of 20 boys with 2 big shooters, 4 big shooters on the battle wagon, and obviously the shots within the battle wagon. So again, they're going to be piling some shots into the wolfen. Unfortunately, it didn't do enough. I was thinking I should be able to wipe them out, but they had 2 left. They got pretty jammy on a run of storm shield saves. I think it was 5 or 6 saves made in a row, which kept the unit alive, which obviously increases that bubble of extra movement and also allows him to pop a 6 and get a 24-inch move, which is what he would have needed to get thunderwolves from the top, just above the screen, into my knob bikers. So I was reasonably confident, as long as he can't charge me next turn, then I'm all good. Obviously, he pops the 6, and the thunderwolves come screaming across. Yeah, 2 interesting combats ensued. The lone wolves, we talked about how they were good, but had a limited number of attacks. So, against big units, they were going to struggle. And this borne out by him failing to wound a lowly group of grots, and the grots managing to chip off a wound in return, hilariously. And then he started chewing through the grots in the building. And the same was also true that they'd do 1 or 2 wounds, and I'd hold. They've got a runt herd and a screamhound, so it's actually not that terrible a leadership. So it's good. So yeah, the wolfen got to charge, the iron priest got to charge, and the thunderwolves got to charge. So yeah, that 6 made a massive difference. So yeah, oh well, these things happen. I killed the wolves off of the iron priest with my charge reaction, and yeah, learned that you don't get a morale test in the assault phase, so that's a useful piece of information. But they went in, and I knew both units were going to make a mess of my knob bikers. The thunderwolves charged in. With the battle wagon again, I was pretty confident they'd make short work of that. Then the knob bikers got decimated. So that is left with the war boss with a lucky stick, the pain boy, and 1 knob biker. So yeah, fairly big mess from the wolfen. Obviously, with the wolfen getting killed, they get to fight twice, and with the iron priest got pretty choppy as well. So yeah, pretty messy. It's pretty unfortunate, but oh well, such is life. Went a bit better at the top. The thunderwolves got beaten up pretty bad, and I lost some, but not too many. So that was okay. Look at that. The battle wagon obviously got destroyed, and the boys piled out, and then they piled in. They decided to charge. Now, Glenn who's the Space Wolves player, was pretty confident. He's like, well, I've got a choppy unit, but I've got 3 bikers, 2 power claws going in, and a lot of attacks from the boys. So although there's no power claws down the bottom, I think they'll still go okay. Just wait for attacks. Again, He chips 1 wound. I actually made my really low morale test, so again the Grot stick around in the middle, and we wiped out the thunderwolves. So just weight of attacks from the boys. They charged to the strength 4, so yeah, they punched the way through. The 3-up storm shield is no better than power armor at the end of the day. So yeah, it was a good result. So the Lone Wolves continued to fail miserably against the Grots. Again, he rolled badly. Again, I rolled really lucky for my morale test, but the fight continues. So now we've got all the boars and the orcs, or the boar bikers, together at the bottom of the board near the objectives. Finally, a lone wolf manages to break and run down some Grots. The runt herd finally lost his nerve. And then the Lucky Stick Warboss came flying towards him. This actually was a close fight, but ended up with the Lucky Stick boss winning. Glenn went and claimed 1 objective. I could go and claim a 2nd objective with my Warboss. I didn't realise, but I didn't have to fight the Lone Wolf. They can't claim objectives, so it ended up that Glenn won the Maelstrom objective by a mile. He ended up holding 1 objective. I held 2 of the secondary objectives, so I won the Eternal War, and Glenn won the Maelstrom. It was a great game in the end. The Orks actually performed really well against what is a pretty cutting-edge close combat army from Glenn. The Space Wolves, if they'd got into contact with me, would have just munched me if they'd charged particularly. So yeah, it was good. I think the strategy of coming on late was good. The Orcs, in spite of their reputation and their low ballistic skill, actually shoot really well. The bikes shoot amazingly well. So yeah, that kept me in the game, but a close game right until the end. And I'm going to build me an Orc shooty army, I think. So I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe to the channel. There is 9th Age and 40k coming your way, more battle reports. Email me and get in touch through Facebook and Twitter. Thanks then. Bye.